Stop trying to shove your agenda down their throats. Because the moment they feel your hand on their back, their defenses go up, their spine stiffens, and they will resist you simply to prove they are not weak. If you want total psychological control, not over the weak, but over the strong, the ambitious, the stubborn, you do not push them. You hold up a mirror. This is the essence of the mirror trap, a strategy so subtle yet so devastating that it sits at the core of Machiavellian thought. While Niccolò Machiavelli is often reduced to crude lessons about fear and cruelty, his deeper genius lay in understanding the architecture of the human ego. He knew that a man would rather be destroyed by his own reflection than be saved by another's instruction. To master this is to rule without appearing to rule. Over the next few minutes, we are going to explore 5 distinct rules to construct this mirror trap, to use the target's own vanity, ambition, and insecurity as the cage that holds them. This content is for educational purposes, dissecting the mechanics of power dynamics as explored through a philosophical lens. Let us begin. Rule 1 is the foundation of the entire trap. Master the art of strategic silence. Most people, when they want to influence someone, make a catastrophic error. They over-explain. They think that if they can just find the right combination of words, they can logic the other person into submission. But Machiavelli observed that logic rarely conquers the ego. In fact, when you argue with a proud person, you are not trying to find truth. You are engaging in a duel. To win a duel, you do not throw 1,000 punches. You wait for your opponent to exhaust himself. Strategic silence is the void into which the ego inevitably leaps. When you refuse to fill the space with your opinion, when you ask a question and then simply wait, maintaining steady, unbroken eye contact, the other person feels a pressure that they cannot stand. They begin to speak to fill the silence. They begin to explain themselves. They begin to confess their weaknesses, their desires, and their fears, simply to escape the discomfort of your quiet observation. In this dynamic, you become the mirror. You are not giving them anything to push against. You are simply reflecting the void they feel inside. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the nature of men, noting that they are quick to change their nature to suit the times, but only if they believe the change was their own idea. By using strategic silence, you force them to reveal their hand. You learn their vanity. Does he need to be seen as intelligent? Then let him ramble. Does she need to be seen as virtuous? Then let her justify. You are gathering the glass with which you will build the mirror. The rule is simple. Speak less than necessary. When you do speak, make it a question that forces them to look inward. The moment you stop trying to convince them and start letting them convince themselves, you have already won half the battle. Rule 2 is to identify the specific vanity and amplify it through strategic admiration. Machiavelli knew that every man walks around with a hidden wound and a hidden dream. The wound is where he feels inferior. The dream is where he believes he is exceptional. The mirror trap requires you to find that dream. You see, you cannot control a person by attacking their self-image. They will die before they let you do that. You control them by validating their self-image so completely that they become addicted to your validation. This is not flattery. Flattery is cheap. Everyone uses it, and the discerning mind sees through it. This is strategic admiration. You must observe your target carefully. What story do they tell about themselves? Do they see themselves as a misunderstood genius? Do they see themselves as a ruthless pragmatist? Do they see themselves as a benevolent mentor? Whatever the narrative, you hold the mirror up and show them that exact reflection. You become the one person who truly gets them. In the world of power dynamics, this creates a profound dependency, because once you have established yourself as the sole validator of their identity, they will move heaven and earth to maintain that reflection. They will seek your approval constantly. They will ask for your opinion. They will begin to mold their actions to keep that flattering image of themselves alive in your eyes. Machiavelli advised the prince to understand the humors of men, to know that men are governed more by their appetites than by their reason. The appetite for self-esteem is the most powerful appetite of all. By feeding it selectively, you become the source of their psychological nourishment. But you must be careful. Do not validate everything. Validate only the parts of their ego that serve your purpose. If you need them to be aggressive, admire their ruthlessness. If you need them to be compliant, admire their loyalty. You are not changing who they are. You are simply holding up a mirror that shows them a version of themselves that happens to be incredibly useful to you. Rule 3 is the most counterintuitive, yet it is where the trap springs shut. You must grant them the illusion of total superiority. This is the masterstroke. Most novices in power dynamics make the fatal error of trying to appear superior to the person they wish to control. They flex. They show off their intelligence. They try to win arguments. But Machiavelli understood that to dominate a proud person, you must first let them dominate you on the surface. You must strategically concede. You must let them think they are smarter than you. Let them think they are more capable. Let them think they are the one manipulating the situation. When you encounter a person with a high ego, they are constantly scanning for threats. They are looking for someone who might outshine them. If you appear as a threat, they will either work to destroy you or cut off contact. But if you appear as a mirror that reflects their own greatness back at them, they relax. Their defenses drop. They begin to see you not as a rival, but as a disciple, a follower, or a partner who finally understands their brilliance. This is the Trojan horse of the ego. By letting them feel superior, you gain access to their inner circle. You become their confidant. They tell you their secrets because they don't perceive you as a threat. They ask your advice because they believe you value their judgment so highly that your counsel will simply be an echo of their own thoughts. Machiavelli wrote that a wise ruler should sometimes allow himself to be deceived by his allies if it serves a greater purpose. Here, you are allowing the target to deceive themselves. You are letting them believe they are in control while you are quietly setting the boundaries of the game. Remember, the goal is not to make them feel inferior. The goal is to make them so comfortable in their perceived superiority that they become predictable. A person who thinks they are the smartest person in the room stops looking for traps, and that is precisely when you guide them exactly where you want them to go. Rule 4 introduces a subtle shift. You must introduce the calibrated withdrawal. Addiction to the mirror is powerful, but absence is what solidifies the addiction. If you are constantly holding the mirror up, they begin to take your validation for granted. They start to feel entitled to your admiration, and an entitled ego is a lazy tool. To maintain control, you must occasionally withdraw the reflection. You must become slightly distant. You must withhold your usual validation for a day or two. You must let them experience the cold dread of not knowing what you think. In Machiavellian terms, this is the principle of being feared versus being loved, but applied to psychological dependency. When you are constantly feeding the ego, you are loved. But when you withdraw, you introduce the fear of losing that source of validation. And as Machiavelli famously noted, fear is a much stronger bond than love, because love is held by a chain of obligation, which, since men are selfish, is broken at every opportunity for their own advantage. But fear is held by a dread of punishment that never fails. In the mirror trap, the punishment is simply silence. It is the absence of the flattering reflection. When you withdraw, the target becomes anxious. They will begin to seek you out. They will try harder to earn your approval. They will work to pull the mirror back into place. This is the moment where their ego becomes your leash. You are no longer chasing them. They are chasing the image of themselves that you have cultivated. But you must calibrate this carefully. If you withdraw too harshly, they may become angry and reject you. If you never withdraw, they become bored. The art is in the rhythm. Be warm enough to create attachment, but unpredictable enough to ensure they never feel completely secure in your approval. This keeps them in a constant state of trying to win you back, trying to prove to the mirror that they are indeed the person they believe themselves to be. During this phase, you can begin to shape their behavior explicitly, because now they will do almost anything to get the mirror to smile at them again. Finally, Rule 5 is the culmination. Engineer the self-destructive choice through the illusion of autonomy. The ultimate goal of the mirror trap is not to force someone to do what you want. It is to make them want to do what you want. You want them to commit actions that benefit you, believing wholeheartedly that they are acting out of their own free will and superior judgment. By this point, you have established yourself as the keeper of their mirror. They trust you. They seek your counsel. They believe you admire them. Now, when you need them to take a risk, to make a sacrifice, or to move in a specific direction, you do not give them an order. That would shatter the illusion. Instead, you frame the desired action as the ultimate expression of their identity. You say something like, well, this is a difficult situation. I'm not sure many people would have the courage to do what needs to be done, but knowing you, you've always been the type to take the hard road when others take the easy one. You are holding up the mirror. You are showing them an image of themselves as courageous, decisive, or ruthless. If they refuse to act, they are not disobeying you. They are shattering their own self-image. They are admitting to themselves that they are not the person they believe themselves to be. For a person with a developed ego, that is unbearable. They will take the action you desire to prove to themselves and to you that the reflection is real. Machiavelli understood that men will forget the death of their father more quickly than they will forget the loss of their inheritance, but they will also forget both if you threaten their reputation. The ego is the last fortress a person defends. By making your desired outcome essential to the preservation of their ego, you make them your most loyal soldier. They will burn their own bridges for you. They will alienate their own allies for you, and they will do it all while believing they are acting independently, that they are the master of their own fate. The beauty of the mirror trap is that when it is executed perfectly, the target never feels controlled. They feel empowered, they feel seen, they feel understood, and you, standing behind the glass, remain invisible, holding the reins of a will that moves because you taught it to love its own reflection more than reality. To conclude, the mirror trap is a timeless strategy precisely because it does not fight against human nature. It harnesses it. The ego is not an enemy to be crushed. It is a force to be directed. By mastering strategic silence, you learn the shape of the ego. By validating its vanity, you become its source of sustenance. By granting the illusion of superiority, you lower its defenses. By withdrawing your validation, you create dependency. And by engineering the self-destructive choice, you turn their pride into your utility. Machiavelli taught us that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But the mirror trap reveals a deeper truth. It is best to be the mirror itself, present, unassailable, and utterly essential to the way they see themselves. Use this knowledge wisely. Understand that these tools, like any sharp instrument, can wound the user if handled without discipline. Study the psychology, protect your own ego from becoming a mirror for someone else, and move through the world with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that the greatest control is the control they never see coming.